In the heart of a whispering forest, where the trees stretched their leafy arms to the sky, lived a bear named Barnaby. Barnaby was a very special bear, not because he was the biggest or the strongest, but because he loved something that many other forest creatures dreaded: bedtime. For Barnaby, the end of the day was the most magical time of all. He adored watching the sun paint the sky in shades of honey gold and raspberry jam as it dipped below the hills. He loved the soft, cool whisper of the evening breeze as it danced through the pine needles, carrying the scent of damp earth and sleepy flowers. While other animals scurried to squeeze in one last game or one last song, Barnaby would find a comfy spot, lean against a mossy old oak, and simply watch the world get ready for rest. One evening, as the shadows grew long and lazy, Barnaby noticed a frantic little squirrel named Squeaky. Squeaky was zipping up and down a tree trunk, his bushy tail twitching with energy. He had an acorn in his paws, but he couldn't seem to sit still long enough to nibble it. "Squeaky, my friend," Barnaby rumbled, his voice as soft as a dandelion puff. "The sun is yawning. Why are you in such a hurry?" "Oh, Barnaby," chattered Squeaky, his whiskers trembling. "I have so much to do. I have to bury this acorn, then find another, then check on my winter stash, then—" He took a sharp breath, his little chest heaving. "I just can't slow down." Barnaby smiled a gentle, sleepy smile. He beckoned the little squirrel to come closer. "Sit with me for a moment," he said kindly. "Let's try something. Close your eyes and imagine you are a leaf, floating on a slow, calm stream. Breathe in like the gentle breeze lifting you up, and breathe out like the stream carrying you softly along." Squeaky, though doubtful, did as he was told. He closed his tiny eyes and took a slow, deep breath in, and a long, quiet breath out. He did it again, and again. With each breath, the twitch in his tail softened, and the frantic energy inside him seemed to melt away like morning mist. After a few moments, he let out a tiny yawn. "Oh," he whispered. "That feels nice." "That's the magic of bedtime, little one," Barnaby said softly. "It's not about stopping. It's about slowing down." Just then, a musical twittering filled the air. It was Pip, a little bluebird who loved to sing. But tonight, her song wasn't cheerful. It was a jumble of hurried, anxious notes. She flitted from branch to branch, unable to settle. "What's troubling you, Pip?" Barnaby asked, his voice a low hum. "I have so many songs in my head," chirped Pip, her feathers all ruffled. "I can't choose which one to sing to the moon. What if I pick the wrong one? What if the stars don't like it?" Her mind was a whirlwind of melodies and worries. Barnaby looked up at the first star twinkling in the deep blue sky. "The stars don't ask for the perfect song, Pip," he said. "They just want to hear your song. How about we listen to the forest's song instead?" Pip tilted her head, confused. "The forest's song?" "Listen," Barnaby urged. He closed his big brown eyes. "Can you hear the rustle of the leaves? That's the forest's whisper. Can you hear the distant gurgle of the creek? That's its sleepy sigh. And can you hear the crickets beginning their nightly chorus? That's the lullaby of the world." Pip fell silent. She listened, and for the first time, she truly heard it. She heard the gentle symphony of the night beginning to play. The sound was so calm, so peaceful, that the jumble of songs in her own head began to quiet down. She found a cozy spot on a branch above Barnaby, tucked her head under her wing, and let the forest's lullaby soothe her. Her anxious chirps softened into a contented, sleepy peep. As darkness settled over the woods like a soft velvet cloak, a family of fireflies began to flicker among the ferns. But they weren't dancing their usual, joyful, twinkling dance. They were blinking erratically, bright one moment and dim the next, buzzing with a restless energy. Barnaby watched them for a moment, then he began to hum. It wasn't a fancy tune or a complicated melody. It was a deep, slow, rumbling hum that came from his chest, like the purr of a giant, sleepy cat. The hum rose and fell in a steady, calming rhythm, like the gentle waves on a quiet lake. The little fireflies noticed the sound. One by one, they paused their frantic blinking. They started to drift closer to the sound of Barnaby's humming. As they floated in the air, their lights began to pulse in time with his gentle tune. In and out, bright and dim. Their chaotic blinking transformed into a beautiful, synchronized glow, a gentle beacon in the deepening twilight. The whole forest seemed to hold its breath, watching the fireflies dance their new, peaceful rhythm. By now, the moon had climbed high into the sky, a perfect silver coin spilling milky light onto the sleeping world. Squeaky the squirrel was curled up in a hollow of the old oak tree, his breathing slow and steady. Pip the bluebird was dreaming sweet, silent songs on her branch. The fireflies pulsed their soft, rhythmic light, illuminating the ferns like tiny, magical lanterns. The whole forest was wrapped in a blanket of peaceful slumber. Barnaby looked around at the tranquil scene. A big, happy smile spread across his furry face. He had shared his love for the quiet and rest, and now everyone was enjoying the gift of a peaceful night. He felt a deep contentment in his heart. With a final, enormous, rumbling yawn that made his jaw crackle, Barnaby lumbered toward his own den. It was a cozy cave nestled under the roots of a giant fir tree, lined with soft moss and dry leaves. He pushed aside the curtain of ferns covering the entrance and stepped inside. The air in his den was cool and smelled of pine and earth. His favorite blanket, a big fuzzy quilt of woven grasses and woolly moss, was waiting for him. He curled up into a big, furry ball, pulling the warm, comforting blanket right up to his nose. He could hear the gentle hush of the night outside, the sigh of the wind, the distant call of an owl, the quiet pulse of the crickets. Bedtime isn't the end of the day, Barnaby thought as his eyes grew heavy. It's the gentle beginning to beautiful dreams. Snuggled in his den, surrounded by the quiet peace of the forest he had helped to create, Barnaby the bear closed his eyes and drifted off into a deep and happy sleep. And as he slept, he dreamed of honey-colored sunsets, whispering leaves, and a world full of friends, all resting peacefully under the twinkling stars. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed our story, please like and subscribe to our channel, Twinkle Tale Bedtime, for more dreamy adventures. Good night.